There were a lot of missed opportunities in these past 40 hours. In Dragon Ball, we have seen many instances of characters training for tournaments, whether it be the Tenkaichi Budokais, the Cell Games, or the Universe 6 tournament. Training always occurs right before, in some form. Now, the Universal Survival Tournament is only a few hours away, and we've only seen a little bit of training. Most of the pre-tournament time was spent recruiting the fighters and testing them rather than training, but it does make you wonder. If they had trained for that time period, what would have been the best way to do it? First, let's create a scenario where this is even possible. After the Zen exhibition match, Goku and Gohan talk about who they should invite to participate as their teammates in the upcoming Universal Tournament. After talking it over, they determine that the strongest fighters from Universe 7 are Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Buu, Piccolo, Android 17, Android 18, Krillin, Ten Shinhan, and Master Roshi. I don't believe there would need to be more motive for these characters to join the tournament, other than knowing the whole universe would be destroyed if they don't win. So Goku instant transmissions himself to everyone and gets the whole team assembled in an instant. Except for Android 17, who Goku still asks Dende to locate. And since Android 17 has a family that he cares about, he of course accepts the offer to save the universe as long as Goten and Trunks protect his wildlife preserve. So let's say that all of this takes at most 5 hours, most of that time being used to get Android 17. So this would leave the Universe 7 team 35 hours to train for the tournament. What would be the optimal way to use these 35 hours? What would be the best way to train the entire team before the tournament? Throughout the course of Dragon Ball, only 3 training methods have provided extremely beneficial results in a short period of time. The Room of Spirit and Time, Hyperbolic Time Chamber in the dub, Ramping Gravity Training, and Wheezes Training, specifically in between the Battle of Gods arc and Resurrection F arc. Out of all of these, Wheezes Training took the longest, but showed one of the greatest increases in the series, and the Hyperbolic Time Chamber had the shortest spent, but showed the least increase of the 3. So that puts Ramping Gravity Training right in the middle in terms of time and power. So it would seem that it's the best. But let me go into more detail on each of these methods before we immediately choose how the 35 hours should be spent. The easiest one to explain is the Room of Spirit and Time, where time moves at a rate of 365 days in the room for every single day passed outside the room. In 35 hours, there would be 1 year, 5 months, 1 week, 6 days, 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 52.32 seconds of time available to use. Now, I know there is a 2-person limit, but that limit was broken in the Buu Saga, so the limit could be due to supplies and not actual physical limit. If it is the case, it's just a supplies issue. I don't think it would be an issue to bring in supplies with them, as Bulma, who just gave birth, would be inclined to do whatever she can to protect her newborn child, not to mention her entire family. And buying a bit of food and toilet paper probably wouldn't hurt the family budget that much. Richest woman in the world. So if every one of the fighters can go into the room together, the group training would help create quick growth between them, as is shown in Dragon Ball Z when compared to solo training. The 10 times Earth's gravity would help strengthen the cores and organs of the non-Saiyan fighters, as would the constant change in environment. Then add the massive amount of space to train, and the Room of Spirit and Time becomes the ideal environment to get stronger in. Next up is Ramping Gravity Training, which is only really seen used to its truly greatest effect once. That time is during the Namek arc, when Goku ramped up the gravity on his spaceship till it reached 100 times on his last day of traveling. Goku got to 100 times Earth's gravity level in just 6 days. This shot Goku up from a power level of just over 8,000, probably substantially more than 8,000 though due to the Zenkai boost from the Vegeta fight, to about 90,000 when he landed on Namek. The gravity room would help strengthen the cores and organs of the non-Saiyan fighters substantially more than the Room of Spirit and Time. The potential substantial power boost aside, the team doesn't have 6 days. The Universe 7 team only has 35 hours left. That's less than a day and a half. So what can get done in that time in terms of gravity training? Well, it depends how it's allocated. The gravity room isn't very big, same with the spaceship. Even if it were to be split, the weaker fighters in the spaceship and the stronger ones in the gravity room, the cramped conditions would make power gains come slower than Goku on his trip to Namek, where he had all the room to himself. I honestly believe out of all 3 of these options, this is the worst. But only due to training space. If there were a larger gravity room, let's say, I would say this training method would have some good benefits to it. But since that's not the case, I hold my stance. Finally, we have Wheezes Training. Whis trained Goku and Vegeta for months before the events of Resurrection F, and Vegeta went from not even close to Super Saiyan God Goku to becoming close to his equal, if not surpassing him. Even Whis states how quickly the two have progressed. However, 35 hours is not enough time to gain the benefits of Wheezes training. So what can he do? The God Key Dimension. If he can transport some fighters to the God Key Dimension, where time flows differently, then there would be more time and substantial gain. To feel the God Key pressure all around them would not only strengthen their bodies, but also their fortitude when facing such strong opponents. We've seen this mental fortitude training happen during the recruitment of Krillin. When Goku goes Super Saiyan Blue, he asks Krillin, "What will you do against this?" He's not telling Krillin, "You're my equal." He's asking him what he will do when he faces people as strong as Super Saiyan Blue. There are characters in this tournament who will rival and surpass the gods, so mental fortitude is a key to winning. With his advice and staff ability, I think Whis' training is a pretty good way to make the Universe 7 team stronger, but may not in so little a time. So what's the verdict? What is the best way to train a team of 10 in 35 hours? Well, it's not any of the ways I just listed. Instead, it's all of them. Let me explain. The spaceship with the gravity chamber can be turned into a capsule. Perhaps the gravity isn't as strong as the gravity room, but it's better than nothing. Now we take that capsule, and Whis, with the supplies from Bulma I mentioned earlier, into the Room of Spirit and Time. In Dragon Ball Super Episode 91, we see Goku training in the gravity room with Whis. So just take those two elements, put them in the Room of Spirit and Time, and we have the best possible way to train. The slowly gained but gigantic benefits of Whis' training and ramping gravity could easily happen if they have over a year to train. Couple this with there being enough time to take turns in the spaceship, and then the downside of the space to train issue is alleviated as well. As for Whis' God Key Dimension, we're never explicitly told what it is. If it is truly a different dimension, then its time dilation would be the same no matter where you enter it from. However, if it is just a part of Whis' staff, and the staff is affected by the Room of Spirit and Time, then the staff gives the Universe 7 team even more time to train. But that point's really up for debate. Either way, bringing the gravity spaceship and Whis into the Room of Spirit and Time would have been the best way for Universe 7 to gain strength in the limited time before the tournament. But what do you guys think? Leave your opinions and counterpoints in the comments down below, and subscribe if you want more Dragon Ball videos. But for now, video outro!